Hello, everybody. We are here. It is Monday night, and you know what that means. It is time for the Sunday Night League. We are here at the Yas Marina Circuit, Abu Dhabi. It hosts the season finale of Formula One, has done numerous times now, and now it's going to play host to the SNL GTE Season 11 finale. And I, for one, cannot wait for this race because we have a three-way fight for the championship. We are in for an eventful race. This is a 38-lap race. It was Punisher's decision to race here this season as the team principal of the winning constructor last season. He got his champion's pick and went with Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina, as one of the two new circuits in the game, or two newest circuits in the game. They've been out for over a month now, well over a month now, in fact. But Yas Marina came out at the same time as Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, or Montreal in Canada. And so we've decided to go with Yas Marina as per Punisher's choice for the season finale. Now, there is, of course, a championship battle going into this season finale. There is a three-way showdown for the championship, as Sarlek saying hello in the chat, and hello back to you, Sarlek. Good to see you. So, we have a three-way fight for the championship. We will go through the standings and then through the grid. So, in the drivers, our championship leader is Bunnies on 89 points, coming off the back of a win at Laguna Seca, the largest winning margin of the season so far. We'll see if somebody can make an even bigger winning margin tonight, or if it'll be a bit closer. 2 points behind him is a Wendigo on 87 points, meaning if those two finish at the sharp end of the grid, it will be whoever finishes ahead of the other will take championship glory. However, there is another driver in the championship battle. It's Tamo on 75 points. He is in total 14 points behind Bunnies. Should Bunnies and Wendigo have a bad round, and Tamo can pick up the pieces, take a win, for example, he is absolutely still in this fight, but he would need to win this race with Bunnies scoring a maximum of 11 points and Wendigo scoring a maximum of 13 points, which is not an easy ask. Bunnies has been on the podium every race so far this season, and Wendigo has had a worst finish of 4th so far this season. This would require them to finish 8th and 7th, while Tamo wins, but it is not impossible. Tamo is certainly still in this championship battle. Behind that, 25 points behind Bunnies is Aloe. Theoretically, Aloe could tie Bunnies in the championship. However, on countback, Bunnies would take victory, meaning Aloe is out of championship contention, but only just. So Aloe in the Volkswagen, the first non-Ferrari, sits on 64 points. 2 points behind him is Mauritius Tam. A further 4 points behind him is Aloe's teammate Ajax. Those three very close together in a good little battle for fourth in the championship. Cool Dude Boy, the reserve, only raced the first two races, but taking victory in round 1 and a solid result in round 2, maintains his 7th place in the championship so far on 41 points. He is, of course, the Ferrari team principal, and with a Ferrari guaranteed to be the winner of this championship, as only Ferraris remain in the fight. Cool Dude Boy, I think, will be watching this round with a smile on his face. 35 points for Silent Wolf in 8th in the championship. 9th is Ben, a further 4 points behind him. Slenderfella sits in 10th, having missed the first round, on 24 points, so 7 points behind Ben. A good race. Could put him up a couple of positions. Rob on Drums in the Volkswagen, 5 points behind him on 19 points. Matter of fact, we have 3 drivers tied on 19 points. We have Rob on drums, who I've just mentioned, Sutkus and Bloodraven, both McLaren drivers, both on 19 points as well. Then we have Tiny Terror in 14th. Tiny Terror is on 18 points. There are 3 people only 1 point ahead of him. A good race from Tiny Terror could boost him numerous positions in this championship. Edgar, a reserve, only raced in Laguna Seca, but did score a very nice, I believe, 4th place, possibly 5th place. It would have been 5th place for Edgar in the McLaren on that occasion. So Edgar on 16 points, Sarlacc also on 16 points in the Mercedes, Punisher on 9 points in the Mercedes, and Kaiser on 8 points in the McLaren. Of course, if you haven't joined us in the past couple of rounds, you'll be a bit confused by the fact we've got Mercedes on the grid. The Renault team took a, I believe, 30% championship points penalty in the Constructors' Championship following round 2, and switched from Renaults to Mercedes. It has been done before in SNL GTE. Back in Season 5, the Mustang team swapped to McLaren midway through the season, Matt Psycho leading the charge of that team on that occasion. But they took a 30% points penalty then as well, I believe. And that is what we've done again. So that is the Drivers' Championship for you. The Constructors' Championship. We do have a confirmed Constructors' Champion following round 4 in Laguna Seca. It is the Ferrari team on 275 points. They scored 56 points, which was the second most in the first round at Grand Valley. They scored the most points of any team the following 3 rounds, getting 75 at St. Croix, 77 at the Nordschleife, and 67 at Laguna Seca. They have been absolutely on fire. And going into round 5, they already have the championship confirmed as they sit 91 points ahead of Volkswagen in second. VW in second has 184 points. 136 for McLaren, who can catch Volkswagen, but do trail a little ways off. And Mercedes behind them on 79 points would be on 91 points, if not for the penalty from swapping their car. But they sit on 79 points, so a solid margin behind McLaren. It looks to be all relatively certain in the Constructors' Championship, but certainly not guaranteed. There is more to play for here. But what we are really looking at is, of course, the Drivers' Championship. Hello to Tamo in the chat. And I think it is about time, now that we've finished going through the championship order, to go through the grid order for today. So for this season finale, the top 2 in the championship are the top 2 on the grid. It is Bunnies, who has taken pole position by what I believe was only 28 thousandths ahead of his teammate and closest championship rival, Wendigo. It'll be number 99 versus number 40 in the championship. It's number 99 versus number 40 in qualifying, and it looks to be number 99 versus number 40 in the race. We will see if anyone else can join that battle. Of course, we have the number 12 of Ajax right behind them, the second Canadian on the grid. Brothers with the man starting up right in front of him there. The Beatles Beetle will be looking to get his first podium of the season. And you may not recognize this livery. That is because stepping in for Silent Wolf today is Edgar. He is driving for Mercedes with that Petronas Mercedes livery. Number 77 qualifies in 4th, which is a personal best for him. Only his second SNL race. He is looking rapid. It'll be interesting to see what he can do from 4th on the grid, as I'm just going to need to check something quickly before I continue. Yeah, okay, great. So 4th on the grid for Edgar. It is 5th on the grid for Tamo. Our other championship contender today does sit in 5th on the grid, so he's not quite in the position, considering his championship rivals are 1st and 2nd, he's not quite in the position he will have wanted to be entering this race. But he's not far off. And he is definitely in a position where should something happen to Bunnies and Wendigo, he can pick up the pieces. 5th for Tamo. It is 6th for Mauritius Tam. Mauritius Tam is going to be doing his first ever race in VR for today. So that is a very cool moment for him. Number 5, this McLaren is going to be looking to move up the grid. He got his first ever SNL podium last time out. Now in VR, can he replicate the task? Can he get another podium, or perhaps even a win today? We'll see. It's Sutkas, another Lithuanian, right behind him in 7th on the grid. Sutkas, number 83, has been having an increasingly strong time throughout the season, at least in qualifying. Some of the races have sort of fallen away from him, but if he can put it all together, his qualifying pace is there, and I think he could have a very good race today. Number 83, going from 7th, Sutkas. Aloe is in 8th in the Heinz Beans Beetle. He will be looking to move up the grid, sits 4th in the championship. He'll want to maintain that ahead of Ajax and Mauritius Tam. Then it is Rob on drums on the grid in 9th, number 42. Grogu on the side of his car there. Hello, Grogu. Hello, Rob. Hello, American flag. Hello, flowers. There are a lot of things on that car, but it is a beautiful car. Going from 9th on the grid, Rob on drums. We'll see if he can pull off some sort of strategic masterclass. That's really his thing. Rob loves his strategies. He's probably the best strategist in SNL. I've held that opinion since at least Season 5 of GTE, probably before then. But Season 5 of GTE is when it really stuck out to me that Rob on drums is an excellent strategist. It'll be interesting to see what he can do from 9th on the grid today. 10th on the grid is Tiny Terror. Number 59 is going to see what he can do in that Chinar Beetle. 11th on the grid, Slenderfella, the last of the Ferraris. We'll see what he can do in that purple and yellow livery. Dunlop tires on that car. We'll see how he can do. He's, of course, a confirmed Constructors champion. We'll see what he can do in the race, though. It's Punisher up next in 12th on the grid. Number 24, the Mercedes has been having a tough season so far. He'll be hoping to rectify that in the final race. Kaiser from 13th on the grid. The Swede will be looking to move up in the McLaren. Then it's Ben in 14th, number 2. Ben is, of course, a champion, so I would absolutely expect him to be making some moves early on. Champion of endurance, that is. And then Bloodraven. Bloodraven completing his second ever season of SNL or GTE. Both of his seasons of SNL have been GTE. Season 9 of GTE and now Season 11. We'll see what he can do. Last time he drove a full season, round 5 was his best result. Or was it round 6? I forget if we did 5 or 6 rounds in Season 9, but the final round was his best result. We'll see if he can do that again. And last but not least, it's Sarlacc rounding out the grid in the Mercedes. As I said, it has been a tough season for all the Mercedes. 16th on the grid for number 8. Sarlacc will be looking to move forwards. We know he's a rapid driver. We know he doesn't quite have the time to practice that he used to when he would race with us a few years ago, but Sarlacc is a proven, very rapid driver. We'll see what he can do today. 16 cars on the grid, 16 cars fighting for a race win, but only 3 can go for the championship. Sarlacc, Bloodraven, Ben, Kaiser, Punisher, Slenderfella, Tiny Terror, Rob, Aloe, Sutkas, Mauritius Tam, Tamo, Edgar, Ajax, Wendigo, and Bunnies. Any of those 16 can win the race, but only Bunnies, Wendigo, and Tamo can win the championship. Ferrari, already Constructors champions, we have a full race ahead of us. Let's get to it. As the lights are coming on now, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out, and we are racing here in Abu Dhabi. It is a good start for Ajax and Edgar. They are both already challenging Bunnies and Wendigo. It's almost 4 wide. Wendigo falls behind a bit. There's contact further behind Mauritius Tam and Sutkis. Mauritius Tam just about keeps it going, but will drop to the back of the grid there. Further up the grid, it looks like there's more contact. Sutkis goes off. Aloe's around. Ben is involved in the contact. Sarlacc as well. Bloodraven, everybody's involved in the contact. This will surely be a red flag. A red flag has been called. Mauritius Tam slowing down, seeing the scene of the accident. Edgar leads the way, but it won't matter, as the race will be stopped. So much chaos. What on earth has happened? You can see so many cars caught up in that. Aloe going round, Sutkis after being knocked off the track, rejoining Bloodraven and Sarlacc into the wall. Ben is around there as well. How did Ben get involved in that? Ben on the inside of Aloe. Bit of contact there, and then Sutkis, Ben, oh, he's hit Aloe again. And it almost looks as if he hits the handbrake there with such a sudden spin around for Ben. But that is the chaos of a red flag. That is that for the standing start, and of course that does mean we'll be going to a rolling start for the race. Hello to Sutkis in the chat. Hope you are all well, everybody who's watching. We have a race to get on with, though. So it'll be Bunnies ahead of Wendigo, ahead of Ajax, Edgar, Tamo, Mauritius Tam, Sutkis, Aloe, Rob, Tiny Terror, Slenderfella, Punisher, Kaiser, Ben, Bloodraven, and Sarlacc. It looks like some of these drivers are far enough back they may not get going before the final corner, so some of them will have to start from, will have to manage the final corner before they can really get going, but the front few will certainly get through the final corner. Let's get going with this race. It's mediums for Bunnies, mediums for Wendigo, and mediums for Ajax at the start. The lights are out, and we are racing from a rolling start here at Abu Dhabi. It is a much better start for the Ferraris with that rolling start. That really benefits them as Bunnies leads into turn 1, ahead of Wendigo, Ajax, and Edgar. Tamo behind, Mauritius Tam, and a little bit of a gap to Sutkis, who's already under pressure from Aloe, but looks to hold off that position for now. It's a bit of netcode issues for Sutkis there, a little bit laggy. Let's take a look at the front. Is there going to be any moves? We saw championship deciding moves in F1 at this corner, but on lap 1, no championship deciding moves yet. Bunnies ahead of Wendigo, ahead of Ajax and Edgar, and I think Tamo has spun around. Tamo has gone round, so there's still chaos even on the red flag restart. What's going to happen here? The Lithuanian driver, Tamo, behind Edgar. Oh, and I think he's just clipped the back of Edgar there, and Tamo loses the rear end. Best I could tell, didn't look like anyone was at fault, but we'll see. An unfortunate event there for Tamo, who is, of course, one of our championship contenders, but our other championship contenders look to do battle. Wendigo takes a look down the inside into the chicane, but thinks better of it, and Ajax back through on Edgar, through into the chicane, Ajax up into 3rd. There we go. It's Mauritius Tam in 5th, Sutkis in 6th, Aloe 7th, Rob and his teammate Tiny Terror doing battle there. And I think we saw just, yes, into the hairpin up here. Wendigo is going to challenge around the outside. No, it's a switch back to the inside of Bunnies. Wendigo takes the race lead, and as it stands, that'll be the championship lead. We have a whole championship battle in front of us throughout this entire race if these two stick together, but it's Wendigo who takes the advantage on lap 1, but Bunnies is still challenging him. Bunnies is going to go for the switchback through the double left-hander. Bunnies makes the move. He's back up into the lead. He takes the position over Wendigo. It's Bunnies from Wendigo from Ajax from Edgar now, as Bunnies reclaims the lead where a fellow Canadian crashed and changed the course of a championship in 2021. He tries to change the course of this championship in 2026. It's Wendigo behind Bunnies. Ajax not far behind himself, though. Edgar as well. Marijistam, his first race in VR, managing to start well. Aloi's up ahead of Sutkis now, into 6th. Sutkis does seem to be having some lag issues, but Tiny Terror, challenging him nonetheless, sits in 8th position, looking to go for 7th. Rob on drums, challenged by Punisher behind him. It's America versus Canada. Slenderfella, behind him is Kaiser, who goes to the outside. Can Kaiser make a move here? Round the outside on lap 2, number 3 on number 21. The Swede on the Brit, with a Canadian right behind, no less. We have a very multinational grid here today, as always, of course. No Mauritians on the grid today, though, unfortunately, as Bloodraven sits in the slipstream of Slenderfella, who is side by side with Kaiser. Slenderfella drops behind Kaiser for a moment. Can he outbrake him, though, in the Ferrari? No, it's the McLaren who outbreaks the Ferrari. Round the outside, Bloodraven's going to go for it. There's a bit of contact, but Bloodraven round the outside of the first half of the chicane, down the inside for the second half. He is through and up into 12th position. Slenderfella falling back into the grips of Ben. Sarlacc behind, and Tamo's going to try and go round the outside of him, as we've had a change for the lead again. Wendigo, how did he get bunnies here? It looks to be round the outside of the chicane. Wendigo goes into the lead. Bunnies has to slot in behind in the slipstream. Ajax is going to sit behind him in the slipstream. Ajax is going to be looking. He's seeing his brother and his brother's championship rival battle. Ajax has fought Wendigo in possibly every single race so far this season, and he's going to see if he can do it again, because Ajax is going to be going for his first win of the season. He has one win in GTE previously, round 1 of season 9 of GTE. He did win, but he has not won since then. We are now at round 5 of season 11. He's going to want another GTE win, and he is right behind these two Ferraris, who are now duking it out for first place in this race. Wendigo looks to be safe for the next few corners at least. We'll take a look back towards the back of the grid. We saw some action here. Tamo does indeed get ahead of Sarlacc. So Sarlacc drops down to 16th position on those mediums. Tamo also on mediums. It is hards, however, for Slenderfella, which could explain some of the difficulties he's having, as Ben runs a little bit wide, as does Tamo, and Slenderfella already into the pit lane, so he does not want to spend longer than he has to on those hard compound tires. Ben also on the hards. Bloodraven on mediums, Kaiser on mediums, as we see some action there between Rob and Punisher. Punisher on the outside on mediums, Rob on mediums, now he has the outside line, but he makes it around, and he holds on to 9th position ahead of Punisher. Bloodraven right behind, I think just pulled off a move on Kaiser possibly. It's Sutkis on hards, which could explain the people challenging him. Tiny Terror is through on the McLaren on his soft compound tires, so I believe the only driver on softs that we've seen, as I immediately eat my words. It's Aloe, also on soft compound tires, down the inside of Marijistam. Can he pull off the move? The move on the Lithuanian driver. It'll be the outside line. Don't squeeze him too hard. He manages not to, and number 57 through on number 5. Marijistam on mediums can't quite keep up with Aloe's soft pace. Mediums for the top 4, as we've already been through this top 3, all on mediums. Edgar on mediums as well, though. Number 77, the Lithuanian, a reserve and proving quite quick. Hello to Rob in the chat. Good to see you here today. Always lovely to have you in the chat. Wendigo leads the way. That Arc Raiders Ferrari, we've seen him out front so much. In fact, actually, I've just noticed he doesn't have his extra headlights anymore, which is interesting, as this is a night race. So Wendigo, no extra headlights on that Ferrari. Weight saving, perhaps. The Arc Raiders Ferrari leads the Speed Racer Ferrari, though, ahead of the Beatles Beetle and the Petronas Mercedes. We've got 4 teams in the top 6. We don't always see that. The Ferraris have been quite dominant so far this season, and the Volkswagen team has not been too far behind. Between Ajax, Aloe, Tiny Terror, and Rob on drums, they have quite a strong team. But Ferrari, already champions, Wendigo, Bunnies, Tamo, and Slenderfella has proven to be an absolute powerhouse so far in that Ferrari 296. the second newest Group 3 car to the game, as just a few days ago, a new Porsche 911 was added to the game. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm excited to see how it does. The Ferrari 296 does appear to be quite a powerful car, though. I wonder if the new 911 will be able to keep up with it. Wendigo's Arc Raiders Ferrari, that rainbow color there, red, orange, is it red, orange? No, it's red, yellow, green, and blue there on that car. That is kind of an orangish yellow in my defense, but nonetheless, that Arc Raiders Ferrari looks powerful out in front. Bunnies and Ajax not quite able to challenge him. Edgar seems to be falling off the back of this pack just a little bit. It's a Lowy behind, of course, on soft compound tires. Murgistan, Tiny Terror, Rob on drums, Punisher. Oh, as we have quite a cluster of cars here. Excuse me, Kaiser Grim getting ahead of Ben there, but it's going to be 3 wide, surely not. Tamo gets around Sarlacc. He's going to be on the outside of Ben. A little bit of contact between the two as Ben takes the position. Kaiser is knocked off the grid, off the track even. Ben, oh, he's going to defend from Tamo there. He doesn't want to give up the position. Tamo is stuck behind Ben. He's trying to make the move, but Ben, of course, does not take the position from Kaiser despite the contact, so that's good to see not taking advantage of his own contact. Tamo runs wide, just about slides himself back onto the circuit. Ben is going to hold the position a little bit slow through the final corner, though, and Tamo trying not to bump into him too hard. Sarlacc behind will be loving to see this action and hoping to get involved himself. Bloodraven in 14th, Sutkis in 15th, and all I can think of right now is the fact that these three, who all appear to have taken pit stops already, will be significantly benefited from this. Not sure about Sutkis, actually, because he started on hards and he's still on hards. I think he's just had possibly some incidents. But Slenderfella, who has pitted, will be significantly benefited from the battling ahead of him, because he will just get a massive undercut on the people slowing themselves down by battling. Looks like Ben's had a bit of a moment as he's fallen behind Sarlacc and Ben. Sarlacc and Tamo. Sarlacc, speaking of which, is going to challenge Tamo. He goes to the outside. It was a little bit of a late move from Tamo, but he defends the position for now. But he goes deep. Can Sarlacc get a switchback on him out of this chicane? Oh, it's a bit of a snap of oversteer for Tamo. Tamo looks like he's struggling to keep the car forwards. The Ferrari perhaps not proving the most agreeable car right now, and Sarlacc is going to sit in his slipstream again. Sarlacc is going to go to the outside again. Can he outbrake him this time? No, he brakes earlier, but can he pull off a switchback? Sarlacc to the inside, not quite able to do it. He can't stick his nose in there quite yet, and he's going to have to sit behind Tamo for the time being. A brilliant battle for these two so far. Pat, of course, the Volkswagen team principal, saying in the chat he was very happy to get the team that he did, and he thinks they got the most out of the car they could have done, given the pace of the Ferrari, I think is what he's saying. Kaiser right behind Punisher. Blue and yellow seems to be a bit of a theme between these two. The Canadian and the Swede. They've got a lot of different nationalities on this grid. I think that's a really good thing, though. We've got Lithuanians and Canadians. More Lithuanians. We've got British. More Lithuanians. More British. We've got Americans. Another Canadian and Swedish. More Lithuanians. British. Well, that is a German flag, so we'll Ben German in this case. Oh, that is a dive to the inside from Bloodraven. What a move! That looked from really far back. Let's watch that again. On board with Bloodraven. Goes way down the inside. Does he manage to avoid contact? He does. What a move. It'll be a switchback for Ben. But that was such a dive. I can't believe Bloodraven pulled that off. He's going to pull into the slipstream. It might have to be a two-part move, but he might be able to get this back for Bloodraven. Can he pull it off? To the inside, to the outside, where is he going to go? He looks to the inside. On Ben. Brakes later. Can he make the corner? He does. Matter of fact, it's Ben who struggles to make the corner. Cuts the second part of the chicane, but it's Bloodraven through on Ben. The hards proving difficult for Ben, but that is some great driving from Bloodraven. What a move! What a battle! Well done to the Canadian. And as I go through the nationality of the grid, that's another Lithuanian and another Brit. So that's at least about 5, I think. 5 nationalities I counted? I wasn't actually counting them, I was just saying them. As it seems like we've got a third blue car entering the battle. What a move from Tamo! Just sticks it down the inside of Kaiser, completely unsuspecting on the Swede. And number 3 is going to have to sit behind and watch now as Tamo looks to challenge Punisher. Can Tamo pull off the move in his Ferrari? He looks everywhere. He's going to have to wait for a good moment. The last corner only really good on the last lap if you're going for a last moment dive. But I wouldn't want to be doing that if I was anybody in this race. Tamo is going to sit in the slipstream. And Pat in the chat also commenting on the incredible send from Blood Rape. Has just a little bit of contact there between Tamo and Punisher. Certainly nothing punishable there, though, as the Punisher wouldn't be punishing him for that. Oh, as Kaiser, possibly a bit of contact there with Tamo. But Tamo looks like he'll maintain the position. Yes, he does seem to do so that is good to see. Further up the grid, the top 3 still quite close together, running nose to tail. None of them quite within the distance where they can make a dive just yet, although Bloodraven doing his best to extend the range of how far back you can send a dive from. But this top 3, all keeping each other honest, none of them quite able to make any moves at this stage in the race. And I think we'll probably see people in soon off of soft compound tires, so I'm looking at Aloe and Tiny Terror when I say that. We'll keep with Aloe to the end of this lap, see what he does at the end of this lap, because those softs are looking pretty brutal. I'd say 7 or 8 laps is probably the maximum you can bring softs without some serious tire saving. Maybe 9 if you really tire save, but I'd be impressed if you could pull that off. So Aloe continues on this occasion. Will Tiny Terror as well? No, Tiny Terror into the pits. So Tiny Terror says, these softs suck, they're too old, I want to get rid of them. And he does do that. We'll see what he puts on in a minute. Rob on drums, in 7th position now, following his teammate's pit stop. Running a solid race as the American. I think he'll be... So it looks a bit quiet as it stands, but he seems to be doing well. And I do want to say, possibly because it's such a new track, if you look at the pace difference between the top group, I mean, it was a 58-0 last lap from Wendigo, granted, as he's actually really close with his teammate and his teammate's brother, Bunnies and Ajax, right on the back of him now, so I wonder if something certainly happened last lap. But Wendigo before that was setting 55s, so his pace is quite quick. We'll just make it really quick, but at the back, say 2-minute odd times for Sutkus and the drivers around him. As Bunnies is going to go to the outside, the pace difference is massive between the front and the back of the grid because this track is so new to the game. So you'll find people a lot less used to this track struggling to get used to it the way some of the front drivers will. It'll also help for drivers who play the F1 games. They'll already know this track reasonably well. The F1 games drive very differently to Gran Turismo, and in my opinion, much worse than Gran Turismo. I am not a big fan of the F1 games, personally, but Gran Turismo has a very nice adaptation of this circuit, and I think that some drivers will be more used to it than others at this stage, and that'll certainly be a big reason for the pace difference, as Bunny's looking for moves all throughout that lap, unable to make any, but he is right on the back of Wendigo. Bear in mind, we're about a quarter into this race. And this is the championship battle, of course, as Aloe off of the soft compound tires. Well, speaking of which, take a look at what Tiny Terror put on. Tiny Terror on the hards now, right in front of Ben. Those will be difficult to manage, but Ben also on the hards. Back to the front of the grid, where we saw potential moves happening, nothing doing yet. Bunnies behind Wendigo, with Ajax right behind him. Edgar a little ways off, but a big mistake from any of these 3, some sort of spin, would absolutely put Edgar back into the fight. And Murridge's Tam in the background there as well. So Wendigo, no challenges yet into the chicane, but could either of these drivers look for a move into the hairpin? Bunny is on the back of Wendigo in the slipstream. We'll go on board with him. Will he get close enough by the end of this straight to go for a move? He's gaining. He's gaining. He's gaining. No moves yet. Doing a bit of lift and coast there is the Ferrari. We've seen that a lot in F1 from the Ferraris. It's not usually a good thing there when they have to do LICO, as they call it, frequently over the radio. But Bunny's lifting and coasting, so I wonder if he's saving fuel, and you can see he has more fuel left than either of the drivers around him, so he does seem to be fuel saving. Matter of fact, judging by the fuel left on the other two, I wouldn't be surprised if Wendigo and Ajax are in this lap. We'll watch Wendigo here. Bunny's challenging him, but what can he do? It's Wendigo into the pits, Ajax as well, but Bunny's continues on, so Bunny's will usurp the lead of this race. Wendigo and Ajax. Wendigo with 3% more left in his fuel. Edgar into the pits as well. Will Murridge's Tam follow him in? He does. Rob on drums. Looks like he's got another lap left in him, based on the fuel, and his tires look okay too. Those mediums can go a long way, as Rob on drums making a bit of a mistake there, running a little bit wide, but gets it back on track and continues on. Punisher battling with Tamo. Kaiser as well. All three blue cars into the pits. Aloe, fresh off of his pit stop, also on the hards, just like Tiny Terror was, continues on his way. And Rob on drums, where will he be in comparison to the people coming out of the pits? Rob on drums is going to jump out ahead of Ajax and Wendigo. Rob on drums hasn't pitted yet, but these two are fresh out of the pits. It's softs for Ajax and mediums for Tamo, so Ajax will have the tire advantage, and having refueled less than Wendigo is going to jump him in the pits. Wendigo as well as Ajax threw on Rob on drums, but Rob is going to fight this back in the slipstream, surely. Rob side by side with Wendigo, the American, the long-term driver in SNL, next to one of the newest drivers in SNL. Rob on drums around the outside, not just of Wendigo, but of Ajax too. Rob on drums, what a move! In the Beetle takes the position up into second place. He's ahead of his teammate, which I don't think his teammate will be too pleased about that, having already taken a pit stop. But for Wendigo, that'll be very disastrous. He's stuck behind two of them now. Two Beetles in the way of Wendigo, but Ajax breaks late. It's going to be Wendigo siping down the inside. It's a switchback from Ajax. Can he get the move back? It's going to be the outside line. He's through already. Ajax has got Wendigo. Can he get Rob too now? Down the inside. Ajax, the Beetle, through on the German Beetle, the Kafer or Kaffer. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, but German for Beetle. What a move from Ajax on both Wendigo and then Rob. Bunny's into the pits. Ajax in second. Where will he come out in comparison to his brother? Bunny's done refueling now. He gets out of the pit box. Ajax rounding the final corner. Rob on drums and Wendigo are battling. Can Wendigo get Rob soon? It's not going to be enough into turn one, is it? He looks to the outside. Surely not. He can't pull it off yet. As Rob on drums in third, he's ahead of Wendigo. Wendigo can't do anything. Where's Bunny's going to be? Ajax is ahead of Bunny's. Bunny's has been jumped by his brother, but he's ahead of Rob and Wendigo. So Bunny's jumps Wendigo and drops behind Ajax. Ajax has undercut his brother and just outright jumped Wendigo in the pits. What a move from Wendigo. He dupes Rob on drums into a bit of a mistake there. He's through on the American, and the top three are reversed. Before the pit stops, it was Wendigo from Bunny's from Ajax. Now it's Ajax from Bunny's from Wendigo. What a series of pit stops for these drivers, putting Ajax into first position, and no less, he is on the softs compared to mediums for Bunny's and mediums for Wendigo. Ajax will be pulling away. Wendigo's going to challenge his championship rival here. These two battling for the championship. It seems like Tamo's out of it. It seems like a two-horse fight now. To the inside, Wendigo. Can he pull off the move? There's a bit of contact. It's going to be Bunnies able to get back around the outside. I wonder if Wendigo almost letting him through following that contact, feeling it might have been unfair to take the position. I'm not sure, but Bunnies back up into second position after very briefly being dropped out of second. Rob on drums on lap 11 still going, but look at his fuel. He'll have to be in at the end of this lap. It is some fantastic battling here from the two Ferraris as Ajax pulls away. It was great battling from Ajax, but he got through at the earliest point possible and is now just stretching his legs out in front. Rob on drums into the pits. Edgar in 5th. That'll jump up to 4th. Where will Aloy be? Presumably he will get his teammate. It looks like he almost certainly will. Hards, taking off the Hards is Tiny Terror. So Rob on drums finishes his first pit stop. Tiny Terror enters his second. Mergistan continues on his way. Kaiser behind. Then it's Tamo and Punisher. These three have been spread out a little bit. Kaiser on his softs is really got quite a gap behind to Tamo and Punisher on their mediums. Then it's Sarlacc and Ben, both on mediums as well. Bloodraven right behind this trio, or completing the trio even. Make that 4. Slenderfella on the mediums as well. All 4 of these drivers on mediums. Sutkus on mediums. And these 4 drivers, though, are so close together. 2 Mercedes, a McLaren, and a Ferrari. The only group that doesn't have a car in here is, of course, the Volkswagen team, but Tiny Terror might be about to change that. Cuts the white line a little bit there. As Ben, though, is in the slipstream of Sarlacc. Can he make a move here to the inside? Can he get Sarlacc here? No. Bloodraven round the outside. He's so strong into this corner on the brakes. The Canadians got him. Round the outside. What a move. Bloodraven. Absolute racecraft mastery. This is beautiful stuff from the number 13. The Canadian sits behind Sarlacc now. He's going to have to defend from Ben. Ben on the outside. Can he pull off the move? Who breaks later? It's Bloodraven. Bloodraven to the inside of Sarlacc. There's a bit of contact. Ben around the outside of both of them. Cuts the chicane a little bit. Has to give up the position. Does give up the position for a moment. But can he get the move back around the outside? There's a bit of wheel banging down the straight. There has been action like this before in SNL, but nothing quite this good has been happening recently. What a bunch of battles we're having at the front, at the back, in the middle. It's everywhere. Ben ahead of Bloodraven, ahead of Sarlacc, ahead of Slenderfella. Sarlacc's gonna look to the inside of Bloodraven, surely not through this complex of corners. He can't pull it off yet, but Bloodraven's wide. Will Sarlacc perhaps get a switchback? We saw it on lap 1 from Bunnies on Wendigo. It's not going to be a switchback for Sarlacc. He looked for a move around the outside, but nothing doing there. Wow. Oh, it's going to be around the outside, surely not of the penultimate corner. Sarlacc, there's contact with Bloodraven. Slenderfella to the inside. Can he pull off the move? Number 21 looking to get involved in this fight. Ben able to take advantage and run away from this fight a bit as the chaos breaks out between Sarlacc and Bloodraven. Sarlacc deep into the corner. He makes it. Doesn't extend track limits, but Sarlacc, it's going to be a switchback on the inside. That's dangerous. That's bold. That's beautiful from Sarlacc. What a move. He's through on Bloodraven, but Bloodraven, we've seen countless times through this upcoming corner, is so good. Can he pull off the move? He is later on the brakes, but it's a bit of a mistake. He bumps Sarlacc out of the way. Sarlacc will hopefully be able to get in the slipstream and get that position back. Slenderfella in the slipstream as well will be given an opportunity here. This is unbelievable battling. Only on lap 13 of this race, these guys are battling like the championship depends on it. But it's 2 other drivers who are fighting for the championship up front. They don't seem to be having any action. I've been trying to keep my eye on the position tower, see that top 3, make sure there's no big moves happening. Nothing yet. These guys, though, are absolutely stealing the show. This is fantastic stuff from Sarlacc, Bloodraven, and Slenderfella. What a battle! Sarlacc's gonna have to back off just for the time being. Nothing quite possible yet. Ben is catching up to Tiny Terror. Ben is going to be looking for a move on the Volkswagen soon enough. Punisher a little bit more alone. Let's just catch our breath as Tamo trying to work his way up to Kaiser. Rob on drums ahead. I think Kaiser is gaining on him on those softs. Mauritius Tam right behind Aloe. Aloe on hards, there could be a move here soon. We'll just make sure none of the top three are too close together, as they are actually quite close together. Wendigo, could he make a move on Bunnies to the outside? The Lithuanian on the Canadian. It's for the championship, these two. On the outside is Wendigo. Bunnies defends nicely. Nothing Wendigo could do there on the outside line. Bunnies is going to be safe for now, but down the next straight, it'll be slipstream for Wendigo. Aloe and Mauritius Tam are so close together as well. It's going to be hard to keep an eye on all these battles as Wendigo goes to the outside. Will it be a switchback again? He's pulled off a switchback before in this race. Can he do it this time? No, he's going to go all the way around the outside if he does make a move here. Not quite, as Bunnies holds the position in second position, and his brother is running away. A 54.8 a couple laps ago for the Volkswagen driver, but those softs will be wearing out soon. Bunnies trying to defend from Wendigo. Edgar running a surprisingly lonely race, all things considered, but it's Aloe still ahead of Mauritius Tam. Mauritius Tam still his first race in VR, but managing very nicely in 6th position. Can he pull off a move soon? Rob on drums. Kaiser still working his way up towards him, but Kaiser's pretty low on fuel, and his tires will be wearing out pretty quickly. Tamo keeping good pace with Kaiser, actually. Those soft compound tires are fast, but Tamo just as fast on the mediums. That is impressive stuff from Tamo, actually. Punisher behind Tiny Terror. He is going to have to defend from Ben soon. We could see more battling as Bloodraven Slenderfella's through on Sarlacc now, so I wonder if Sarlacc maybe made a mistake last lap or something like that. Sutkus a bit further behind in 16th. Ajax running away in the lead. Bunnies from Wendigo. You can see Edgar in the background there, but nowhere near striking distance, as Mauritius Tam has got Aloe. Let's go back and watch this properly. We want to see this move. It's been coming closer and closer for ages now. Mauritius Tam on the back of Aloe. How is Mauritius going to pull this off? He goes to the outside. Aloe really defending the inside there. We'll go inside Aloe's car now. Where is Mauritius Tam? He's somewhere on the right-hand side. There he is, right round the outside. That was a very sweet move from the McLaren driver. The Lithuanian through on Aloe, but Aloe's not going to give it up now. He's in the slipstream. He's going to move to the inside. Down the long straight, into the chicane. Can he pull off the move? On the inside. Brakes about the same point. Bit of wheel banging. On the outside is Mauritius Tam. If he can hold that, it'll be the inside. He can't. Aloe retakes the position. Those hard compound tires. He is saying, wow, hard suck, but I don't care. I'm just going to drive that well, apparently. I am frankly impressed by how well Aloe's managing those hard compound tires. They are not pretty tires, but he's doing well with them nonetheless. Rob on drums, starting to come under pressure from Kaiser. I do think Kaiser will be in at the end of this lap. Tamo behind. Punisher, Ben, side by side with Tiny Terror. Was there a move here recently? There was. Look at that switchback from Ben. What a move if he can pull this off. But it'll be the inside for Tiny Terror if he can stay alongside by the time they get to the next corner. Tiny Terror in that Beetle is going to have the inside line. Can he pull off the later braking? On the inside, where's Ben? Ben's braked later. Ben's braked too late. Tiny Terror back through on Ben. It's a battle between the German manufacturers, Volkswagen and Mercedes. The VW's through, back through on the mediums. It's mediums for both of them, but Ben making use of that Mercedes. There's a reason they switched from the Renault to the Mercedes, and they are making use of it as Tiny Terror struggling just a little bit there. Kaiser into the pits as predicted. Slenderfella's ahead of Bloodraven. We missed that move, unfortunately. These three provided some fantastic entertainment for us. I have to say, take a bow, Sarlacc and Bloodraven. Oh, what a save! Bloodraven, how are you still facing forwards? Let's go on board in the car for this. How has Bloodraven saved this? Wow. Watch this. He's going to go through the final corner, and if I had to guess, he'll catch some curb. He does. Gets on the power on the curb. What a save. Bloodraven just about keeps it going. Wow. But Sarlacc is going to be through. Bloodraven on the inside. Wow. Too late on the brakes. Can't quite pull off the move. Sarlacc's going to take it back. That was bold. That was audacious from Bloodraven. Thankfully, Sarlacc able to retake the position. Wow. Oh, Aloe's behind Merigistam now. Could he get it back in the slipstream? He looks like he's almost done on these hards, considering the fuel left in the tank. Oh, down the inside. Is he going to be able to pull it off? He does pull it off. Aloe. Wow. Oh, but Merigistam, he's going to have the outside here, and he'll have better grip as well. Can he get the move on the outside? No, nothing doing yet. Ajax into the pits, out of the lead. It's Bunnies ahead of Wendigo now. Ajax, he'll be trying not to fuel too much if he's putting another set of softs on, but I don't know what he'll actually be putting on. He could be going onto mediums or hards. It looks like it will be another set of the softs, because he's only up to 82%. Aloe finally into the pits, off of his hards. What a defensive masterclass from Aloe. Wow, as Rob on Drums says actually in the chat, saying defensive masterclass from Aloe. That is absolutely fantastic. As Aloe saying fantastic, excellent driving Rob a little while ago, and an impressive amount of fuel saves, still keeping pace from Bunnies. Sarlacc mentions that is a fair point. He went an entire lap beyond what Wendigo and Ajax did in the first stint, but kept right with them, right between them, and I would guess, given the fuel difference here, that he'll be doing that again, possibly. Bunny's ahead of Wendigo, but Wendigo putting some pressure on him. It's Edgar in third, Ajax is in fourth, nobody too close behind him or in front of him, so he'll have some clean air to just stretch his legs, try to extend his gap over Bunnies and Wendigo when the two of them come into the pits. Merigistam in fifth, finally free of the defensive nuisance that was Aloe. A nuisance for Merigistam, of course, who will have been just wanting to get through on him, stretch his legs in clean air, and Aloe just repeatedly saying, nope, nope, you're not getting through on me. Absolutely not. That was some fantastic driving from Aloe. I hope we get to see more battles from Aloe and Merigistam later on this race. Rob on Drums is going to be under pressure from Tamo soon. So as much as this track struggles to create brilliant racing in F1, it certainly creates phenomenal racing in SNL. I hope we get to go back here more often. This is proving fantastic. I mean, I don't think I've had this much fun commentating on a race in ages. The battling is phenomenal. And Tamo, it looks like he's going to be trying to increase it in a moment. Rob on Drums ahead of him. The American versus the Lithuanian. It's number 42 versus number 53. Tamo in the slipstream. I don't think it'll be a move into turn one, so we'll take this as our opportunity to just check around the rest of the grid for any battles. Tiny Terror not too far ahead of Rob, but nothing doing yet for either of them in terms of a battle. Aloe, a similar gap to Ben as he has to Slenderfella. Sarlacc, under a bit of pressure from Bloodraven and Kaiser behind. Sutkus a little bit further back. The top two, a slightly larger gap than last lap, I would say. And let's get back down to Tamo and Rob, because I would be willing to bet this is where we'll see a move from Tamo. We'll go actually on board with the Ferrari, as he does get a whack of oversteer here. We'll see if he can pull off a move in the slipstream. Rob defends to the inside. I don't think he's going to be close enough on this occasion, but Tamo is right behind Rob. He's later on the brakes. No opportunities yet. But Rob is so deep into that first bit. Tamo's going to have a much better exit here. The Ferrari driver is going to have a way better bit of grip coming out of the chicane. But the VW does seem to have some strong straight line speed. The Ferrari can't quite match it. Not yet, at least. Under braking. Can he go round the outside? No, not quite. I think Rob will be going a lap further than Tammo on this stint. I think Tammo will be in at the end of this lap. As Tammo, there he is on the outside. Nothing possible yet, as Edgar and Wendigo are both into the pit lane. We'll have to see where Wendigo comes out in comparison to Ajax. Round the outside. Oh, that is a tricky corner, and we see Tammo having a bit of a Latifi moment there, as I've been calling it all week long. So Bunnies leads the way. Then it's Ajax. Wendigo out of the pits. Ajax past the pit exit. Ajax will lead this race when Bunnies pits as well, then presumably, as he has quite a gap to Wendigo. Wendigo regains control of his car, and then Ajax into the hairpin. Merigistam in fourth. Fifth is Rob on drums. Edgar coming out of the pits now will be behind Rob. Tammo in the pits. Punisher in the pits. Tiny Terror continues on with a Lowy right behind him. I wonder if we could see some Volkswagen battling soon. Number 57 with 57 from Heinz right behind him. Tammo, Punisher, Ben, Slenderfella, all in the pits. Sarlacc continues on. Kaiser continues on. Bloodraven continues on. Soot gets into the pits as well, though. These two McLarens looking to put pressure on Sarlacc. I can't wait to see if these three get a little bit closer together, because we saw some fantastic battling earlier in the race. I really hope we can see some more of it soon. Bunnies leads the way, continues on for another lap. Looks like he's doing another 10-lap stint then, presumably in at the end of this lap. Ajax in second. Where is Wendigo? We're not even seeing Wendigo at this point because Wendigo only goes through now. We'll take a look at what the gap will be when Wendigo crosses the line. Ajax crosses the line now. We'll see when Wendigo does it. It'll be soon, though. Wendigo round the final corner. It is about a 9-second gap between Wendigo and Ajax. That's not an exact number, but it is around about 9 seconds, as Merigistam and Rob on drums into the pit lane now. Edgar continues on his way, regains 4th position in this race. Aloe in 7th. Is going to be under pressure. 57 and 59 do battle here, and if you're in the Discord server for SNL, you'll know that I posted a fun fact earlier this week about the fact that Tiny Terror and Aloe are actually 2 of only 6 drivers who are both on the grid this season and were on the grid in the first season of GTE. Back then, Bunnies drove for Lexus, fought for a couple race wins, didn't get any, got a number of podiums though. Bunnies back then in the Lexus wasn't even a champion in SNL at the time. Wasn't even a race winner yet in SNL. Also on the grid back then, of course, were Aloe in the BMW team back then, and Tiny Terror in Subaru. Rob on drums was also on the grid back then. He was also in BMW teammates with Aloe and a driver who is not on the grid today, but is this season, of course, being Silent Wolf. Silent Wolf was a driver back in Season 1, also in the BMW back then. Won round 5, fought for the win in round 1 with Matt Psycho, who earlier in the race had challenge from Bunnies, but Bunnies dropped off. Had a continental battle with a just absolutely humongous battle with Wolfbane that day, but it was not Mr. Smith. It's a shame we haven't seen Mr. Smith on the grid in a little bit now, but that is not at all the name I meant to say. Silent Wolf and Matt Psycho battled late on in that first ever GTE race. Rob on drums, of course, teammates with Aloe and Silent Wolf back in that season. And of course, the other person who was on the grid back then as well was Sarlacc. Sarlacc now in the Mercedes, back in Season 1 drove for Corvette, teammates with Matt Psycho and Yokas that season. So we have 5 drivers today, and 6 drivers overall from this season who were teammates, or apologies, who drove in Season 1 of GTE, as well as this season. It is Wendigo ahead of Bunnies. I apologize, I did get a bit distracted by my whole fun fact there, but Bunnies has come out of the pits behind Wendigo, and more importantly, I'd say, Bunnies is on hard compound tires now, so he is starting to fulfill more of his tire requirements. Comparatively, Wendigo on mediums again. So for this final race of the season, it's the same as any other race this season. There are required tire compounds. You have to run each compound of tire, that being softs, mediums, and hards, at least one time throughout the race. So Ajax so far has driven on the mediums and the softs. He needs to do hards still. It has been only mediums for Wendigo so far. He needs to do softs and hards by the end of this race. And Bunny's fulfilling his medium stints at the start, and now on hards he'll need to put on softs later. I admittedly don't really remember the tires for the other drivers as well, but I think Edgar has been on mediums the whole time. I believe this is actually a low. He has been softs, hards, and mediums now. Meridius Tam, I'm not as sure for. I do know that Tiny Terror, if he's on mediums now, has also done softs, mediums, and hards. He is indeed. Those two, Aloe and Tiny Terror, stood out to me a bit because they started on softs, which nobody else did. Tamo trying to put pressure on Rob on drums in the Ferrari is Tamo. Rob on drums, of course, in a Volkswagen, but there's a McLaren ahead of them and behind them. But he's a solid distance back, is Kaiser. Tam looks a little bit more comfortable ahead of these two who are battling. Rob goes wide. That'll cost him a little bit of time as Tamo round the outside. Surely not. Can he really pull that off? He does. What a move. But he's going to have the inside. They're still side by side. He'll have the inside line for the hairpin. Can he pull it off? Tamo threw on Rob on drums. That was brilliant battling there. It was short, but it was sweet. Well done, Tamo, ahead of Rob on drums now, who will have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Is the slipstream going to be enough, though? He looks to be gaining. The American is looking for an opportunity. Nothing doing yet. He can't pull it off into the chicane. Kaiser, down at the beginning of the straight, with Ben and Tiny Terror not too far behind. Punisher and Slenderfella. This could be a battle developing here. Sarlacc and Bloodraven. They've given us some excellent action so far, and Sutkis last but not least in this race. There's a yellow flag. Who has gone round? I don't see anybody. Oh, we've only got 15 drivers now, though. What has happened? Oh, I don't see Slenderfella. Oh, Slenderfella seems to have had an incident and disconnected from the race. You never want to see that. That is very, very unfortunate. Tamo putting pressure on his Lithuanian buddy here, Meridius Tam. Meridius in his first race in VR. Tamo has done a number of races in VR. I don't know how many, but I believe he was already in VR by the time he came to SNL. So Meridius Tam on the outside here. Is he going to have a switchback? No, he's not close enough to really look at anything quite yet. He sits behind Meridius Tam. I love this offset cockpit cam view. Sometimes it looks a bit far to the left and you can't really tell what's going on, but now we're looking back a bit more forwards, and that's good. Oh, Meridius Tam seems to have made a mistake there, because he's going to drop a bit behind Tamo now. So Tamo capitalizes on mistakes through turn 1 from his opponents 2 laps in a row. Tamo up into 6th position. Aloe in 5th, Edgar in 4th, 3rd for Bunnies, 2nd is Wendigo, pulling quite far away from Bunnies. I suppose that's to be expected on the hards, but that is a concerning gap, as Wendigo has You can see underneath the fuel gauge a few numbers there. I believe that is the total mileage in that car. Wendigo has 3,000 kilometers almost more than Bunny's in that car, in that Ferrari 296. So that is quite an impressive amount of mileage, with the car being that new to the game. As Ajax, into the pits, has more mileage on his VW than Bunny's has on his Ferrari, but less than Wendigo has on his Ferrari. Edgar, oof, into the wall. Keeps it going though. You can luckily you can just sort of bounce off that wall if you hit it right. Aloe on mediums. Damo ahead of Marigistam and Rob. Rob is going to be putting pressure on Marigistam now. Rob is going to see what can he do in that VW. Volkswagen's closest competitor in the championship is McLaren, so it's worth him making sure he can try and get past Marigistam here. He'll want that position. The American, a rapid driver, a brilliant strategist. Compared to Marigistam, we haven't seen enough of him yet to really know his extreme strengths and weaknesses. But he does seem like a very rapid driver. Through the right-hander, Rob on drums is going to sit on the back of Marigistam. He's in the slipstream, but no opportunities yet. We'll sit on board with him. We can see the flower power on the hood of the car, as well as the top of a VW logo. Flowers and Volkswagen. Never thought I'd see a combo that good. He's in the slipstream. Into 7th gear, which not all of the cars on this grid have, but the VW does have 7 gears. I believe 2 of the cars have 7 gears. I'm trying to remember which the second one was. We'll see if Marigistam goes into 7th gear down this straight. If he even reaches 6th, which I don't think he will. Nope, but Rob is in 7th. Wow. Quite a gearing difference there, to see one car sitting in 7th and the other is 5th. Like 5th gear. That's quite substantial. We've got 4 drivers here getting a bit closer together. Marigistam, Rob on drums, of course, very close together. But Tamo looking to gain on a Aloe here. Tamo's in the championship fight for a reason. He may be a bit further off than Bunnies and Wendigo, but he's in it for a reason. He is a proper rapid driver, and following a spin on lap 1, I think he'll be really looking to move forwards and down the grid. Of course, last time out, he spun on lap 3 at Laguna Seca, on the left-hander before the corkscrew. That was an unfortunate accident for him, made for a very difficult race, fighting his way back through the grid, and that seems to be what he's having to go through again today. It's unfortunate to see such a rapid driver having issues like that. His mileage, actually quite similar in that car to Wendigo's. Possibly, is that a little bit more? A little bit more, yeah. So Wendigo, he clearly puts practice in though. Puts a lot of effort into these races, and the good results will come. I mean, he's had some good results. Got a 3rd place in round 2 and a 1st place in round 3. That's right, our Nordschleife winner, and that's why it's worth pointing out that we have not had a single repeat winner yet this season. We'll take a look at Tiny Terror, because he's relevant to what I'm about to say. Cool Dude Boy won round 1 in this car, number 86 on that day, because that's Cool Dude Boy's number, but using this car and livery, Cool Dude Boy won in round 1 at Grand Valley, as we'll just make sure Tiny Terror isn't about to go for a move or anything. No, he's not. So this car won round 1. Then it was Wendigo who took victory in round 2 with that Arc Raiders Ferrari. Round 3 went Tamo's way in the Red Bull Ferrari, and round 4 went the way of Bunnies in the Speed Racer Ferrari. However, That is 4 different winners in 4 rounds. It is looking good for Ajax so far, who has used now a third set of softs he is using now. So we'll have to use hards next stint unless he's doing a 5-stop, but that seems excessive. So Ajax will be looking to be strong to the right now, but those hards will hurt him towards the end of the race. Ajax could be in with a shot at this win. It's not guaranteed, but he's definitely in with a shot. We could see 5 winners in 5 races this season. Might stay 4 winners in 5 races. Wendigo and Bunnies both have won races already, and both are also looking strong for the win. I think Bunnies is trying to do a 3-stop, though. Wendigo looks like he's doing a 4-stop. Ajax also looks to be doing a 4-stop. Wendigo leads. He's got quite a gap to Bunnies now. Bunnies has fallen well off the back of him. Ajax in 3rd. Edgar 4th. 5th is Aloe, under pressure from Tamo in 6th. 7th is Rob, now ahead of Mauritius Tam in 8th. Ben under pressure from Tiny Terror in 9th and 10th. Tiny Terror is going to look to the inside. Can the Volkswagen pull off a move on the Mercedes? Tiny Terror to the inside, brakes a bit later. Can he get the move? No. It looks like Ben... Oh, yes, maybe. It's going to be the outside line. Both of them struggling to make it around the second half of that chicane. But Tiny Terror is going to have to sit behind a little bit longer. But he's going to pull into the slipstream. Pull out of the slipstream now, even. He's going to have the outside line for this hairpin. Can he pull it off? Round the outside. It's not going to be possible yet, but a switchback is. Can he get it? The Brit, number 59 on number 2. He's through. What a move. That was very, very smooth from Tiny Terror. That is a great move there. Switchbacks at that corner, they seem common, but they seem strong. Oh, as Tiny Terror runs a bit wide. Rob commenting on using 7th gear to save a little fuel. Less refilling time. That is smart. Rob this is what I keep saying. Rob on drums. One of, if not the best strategist in SNL. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to save fuel. He knows how to figure out strategies. This is one smart man. I'm telling you that right now. If you are ever going into a league race and you think, I need to contact somebody in the world, somebody who's contactable, because obviously, like, no offense to Rob, but I contact a F1 strategist over you for strategy. But if you're thinking, I need to find a sim racer, and I need the best strategist for sim racing, Rob on drums is the first man I would contact. I think Rob on drums is genuinely one of the best strategists in league racing. As Punisher, going on his way on hards, that looks to be a little bit of a struggle. The hards always are. Sarlacc ahead of Bloodraven. Bloodraven, if he can get close enough, I wonder if we can see another exceptional dive. I think he's a little bit too far back as it stands, although we've seen him pull off some pretty outrageous stuff so far at this race. Kaiser in 14th, 15th is Sutkus, and 16th and disconnected, unfortunately, is Slenderfella. So Bunnies continues on his way here on lap 28. He's taken the lead of the race. Ajax behind. You can see them both in the same shot there. Bunnies into the hairpin now, while Ajax into the hairpin now. These two drivers, they're brothers. They're fighting for a win here, and that's Wendigo behind. Wendigo fighting for a win as well. Wendigo fighting with his teammate for a championship, no less. GTE has an illustrious list of champions. I really hope I used that word correctly. That is a cool word, illustrious. GTE has an illustrious list of champions, though. In Season 1, well, Matt Psycho, Illusion, Victory Rain, Speed Hunter, Cool Dude Boy, Silent Wolf, I believe that's all the champions so far. There's only 6 of them across 10 seasons, because most of them have won multiple championships. I mean, Matt Psycho has won 3 championships, Victory Reign's won a couple, Speed Hunter has won a couple. I mean, that's already 7 championships accounted for. Then you have Illusion 1 time, you have Cool Dude Boy 1 time, you have Silent Wolf 1 time. That is 10 seasons of GTE already covered. But that is, I mean, if you were making an all-star race for SNL, those are 6 drivers you would, without hesitation, invite to the race. I mean, Matt Psycho was so rapid when he was here. 3 championships in GTE for a reason, and a championship in Formula X. Speed Hunter. I'm not sure I saw anybody whose raw pace could quite match him. He didn't always have the strategic prowess, and he made some mistakes, but his raw pace was just unbelievable. Speed Hunter was a good name for him, because he really hunted that speed. Victory Reign. Another fitting name. He had a lot of victory, and he reigned over those GTE seasons when he did win. Silent Wolf was brilliantly quick. He's had a tough season this season, but I mean, if you think back to, say, Season 1, Season 3, he won some races as well. Season 10, he won a race at the Nordschleife. Season 9, he won a race at the Nordschleife. Season 10, he also won a race at the Nordschleife, but he won most of Season 10 on his way to the championship. Silent Wolf is absolutely rapid. I mean, Illusion is brilliant as well. We haven't seen him very much recently. We saw him for Jam's final race as the owner of SNL, as the leader of SNL. We saw him in FX for round 10 last season. He was quick. I mean, even when he was rusty, he was quick. For a while, I believe he actually held the record for the most mileage driven on GT7 of any person in the world. I believe he held that record for a bit. And, of course, Cool Dude Boy, a champion in several series as well, in Formula X and GTE. Fantastic driver, always at the sharp end of the grid when he's racing. I mean, he won earlier this season. He is so rapid. All 6 of those drivers are unbelievable. We have quite a list of champions, and today there will be a new name added to the GTE champion list. It's either going to be Bunnies or Wendigo. It looks unlikely to be Tamo. It's still not impossible, but it looks unlikely. It's looking like Wendigo is going to add his name, or Bunnies is going to add his name. If Wendigo does it, it'll be his first SNL championship as a whole, as he sets the fastest lap of the race, hunting down Ajax and Bunnies. If Bunnies does it, it will be his 6th SNL championship, which if I had to guess, is probably a record in SNL. I think Matt Psycho has a total of 5 championships, because I think he won Season 5 of Porsche Cup as well. But I think 6 will be a record in SNL, but it will be his first GTE championship if Bunnies can get it. He's only got 2 race wins in GTE. So Bunnies and Wendigo are both going to be really wanting this championship for their own reasons. Wendigo hunting down Ajax here, both of them trying to catch Bunnies, but Bunnies is a little bit further ahead. It looks like Ajax and Bunnies will both be into the pits on this lap, actually. So it looks like Bunnies is in a really strong position compared to Ajax, because Ajax is going to have to put on the hards, Bunnies is going to have to put on the softs. Bunnies could pull away here. It looks like Bunnies has got his brother dealt with for this race, possibly. It's not impossible for a mistake to creep in, but it's looking good for Bunnies. Wendigo, though, has a lot more fuel left. He hasn't run hards yet, but it looks like he'll be doing a really short final stop with hards right at the end. This is going to be a close race. I think Ajax has been slowly cycled out of it, his strategy not quite able to match the Ferraris. But he has been rapid. Wendigo around the outside of the penultimate corner. That is a slick move. Well done to Wendigo for that move. Bunnies into the pits off his hards. Ajax into the pits off his softs. Wendigo continues on with his softs. He takes the lead of the race for now. Edgar well behind. That top 3 has been the absolute class of the field today. Edgar is in the final sector, but I think both of these drivers will be out of the pits well before Edgar gets there. Tamo behind. It was a tough opening chunk of the race with a spin on lap 1. But Tamo up into 5th. That might be the limit of what he can pull off today. Rob on drums running a very strong race. I would say Rob on drums should be pleased if he can finish in 6th position here today. This has been a very good race for him so far. His strategy has been good. His battling has been great. Aloe and Mauritius Tam are going to be going at it again. We saw when Aloe was on hards and Mauritius Tam was on mediums them battling, and Aloe just defensively nailing it to stay ahead. Mediums for Aloe now, softs for Mauritius Tam. We could see exactly the same thing again. Ben in 9th on mediums. Mediums for Bloodraven in 10th. Kaiser in 11th on mediums. 12th is mediums for Tiny Terror. 13th hards on the car of Sarlacc. Punisher a little ways behind on softs, but softs to hards, he might be able to gain on Sarlacc a bit. And Sutkus in 15th, last but not least. Wendigo leads the way behind Sarlacc, who does a good job of getting out of the way there. So good to see drivers obeying the blue flag rules. Wendigo needs absolute pace here. He's got 1 pit stop left in this race if he's going to put on the hards, which he does have to do by regulations. Bunnies is done in the pits. He's on soft compound tires now. He can push. He can see what he can do. It's hards for Ajax. They look like they're both going to the end of the race. Ajax looks like he's out of the race win contention, but he is looking good for a podium. Edgar, I don't know if he's going to need to pit again. Judging by his fuel, I think he will need to pit one more time. So Edgar, he's a bit close to Ajax as it stands, but he'll have to pit again, I think, and he will drop well off the back of Ajax at that point. So the Lithuanian driver sits in 4th. He looks comfortable in 4th, but I don't think it'll be better than 4th for him today. No maiden podium for Edgar quite yet, unless any calamity ensues. Tamo in 5th. 6th is Rob on drums. 7th is Aloe, still battling Mauritius Tam, a lap on. We go on board in the car of Mauritius Tam. Take a listen to that engine. I do have to say, I quite like the noise the McLaren makes. Take a listen to that engine as he tries to fight the Volkswagen Beetle in front of him. Coming towards the end of Sector 1 now. Mauritius Tam not quite able to close up to the back of Aloe as he might have wanted there. He's going to want to make it. If he's going to make this move, he's got to pull it off sooner rather than later because his softs will start to wear out in a few laps' time, I would think. He's in the slipstream of Aloe now, though. The McLaren driver, can he pull off a move at the end of this straight? Is he going to look to the inside? Is he going to look to the outside? Or is he just going to sit behind? He looks to the inside. The Lithuanian can't pull off anything yet. The Beans Beetle, so strong under braking. Aloe holds the position now. And Aloe, I think, is starting to prove himself to be one of the better defenders in SNL. Because he is doing very, very well here. I'm not sure, I haven't taken particular notice of his defending before. I haven't noticed that it was bad, but I haven't noticed how good it was before. It looks really strong today, though. I think Aloe absolutely nailing it. Mauritius Tam sits behind him, though. He's looking for opportunities. Up at the front of the grid. It's Wendigo. He'll be in at the end of this lap. Look at his fuel. There's no way he can go another lap on this fuel. By the end of this lap, we'll have a little bit better of a sense of who could win this championship. It's hard to say where these two will come out in comparison to each other, because it's going to be a bit of a shorter pit stop for Wendigo, only needing to refuel for lap 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38. That's only 5 laps on the hards that he'll have to do. Bunnies on the softs, a personal best lap, last lap of 55.3. Bunnies is going to be looking to push on He needs this championship. He needs this win to get this championship, I should say. Wendigo also needs to win to get this championship because it looks like whichever the two of these doesn't win, they'll probably be second. Unless, of course, Wendigo's pit stop drops him behind Ajax, but that seems unlikely. Into the pits is Wendigo. This will be his final pit stop, not just of the race, but of the season. Wendigo, off the soft compound tires, should be putting hards on. He's refueling. He's refueling. It's not going to be for very long, though. Where's Bunnies? He's coming up to the final corner. Wendigo still refueling. He goes to about halfway. He's out of his pit box now. Where is Bunnies? He's crossing the line now. Down towards turn 1. Wendigo is going underneath turn 1 right now. Bunnies exiting turn 1. Bloodraven looks like he's getting out of the way on the inside there. He does get out of the way. There we go. And Bunnies is through on Wendigo, but they're so close together. This fight is not over. Wendigo may be on hards, but Bunny's softs are going to be wearing out soon. Very, very soon, I would think Wendigo will have better pace than Bunnies. I think in the last 3 or so laps of this race, probably, Wendigo may have better pace than Bunnies, using the hards on a low fuel. A low fuel load. Wendigo is in this. Ajax looks just about certain to have third. No better, no worse. Unless, of course, Wendigo and Bunnies come together. That would be disastrous. They have come together once previously in this season. At the Nordschleife, Bunnies taking Wendigo off the track. I don't know what the name of most of the corners are on that track, admittedly, but at the left-hander over the crest of the hill after Flugplatz. Bunnies tried to let him back through on that occasion. Wasn't able to. They seemed to have some difficulty sorting that one out, but Wendigo did eventually beat Bunnies in that race. So they have come together before. It's not impossible that it happens again, but hopefully it doesn't. That may be Ajax's only hope of a race win here, though. He looks quite comfortably third, though. Rob on drums. He's not going to be challenging Ajax today, even if Ajax were to spin, and Rob on drums needs to pit again. Edgar, of course, right behind him, though. So the point stands about the overall gap, because that's quite similar between Edgar and Rob. Edgar, speaking of which, might be putting some pressure on Rob before the end of the lap. Rob's softs are quite worn, whereas Edgar's are completely fresh. The Lithuanian in the slipstream of Rob on drums. We'll have to keep an eye on the front battle in the next couple laps when Bunny's softs are more likely to be worn out. I think he's got a little bit of time where he should have the pace advantage over Wendigo. Sutka's through turn 1. Bloodraven jumps back ahead of him. He looked like he's going to be behind for a moment because of his pit stop, but he's back through. No, Sutkas is going to have him. He's on the inside. There's contact between teammates. The McLaren driver next to his team principal and teammate Sutkas. A little bit of contact, just a little bit of door banging there. GT3 cars can get away with that. Oh, as there's a bit of contact. Bloodraven just about keeps himself from spinning around. Sutkas takes the position, though, up into 14th. Oh, there's a lapped car between these guys. As Punisher gets out of the way now, Wendigo is in second place. He's challenging Bunnies, but he's not there yet. The gap is a little bit bigger than it was last lap, I think. Bunnies, oh, it looks like Wendigo's a little bit slower through the first 2 sectors at least. The hard's not proving fast enough quite yet. Every lap that the softs have better pace than the hards, things look better for Bunnies. Every lap that the hards get better compared to the softs, things look better for Wendigo. There they are, going under the hotel. Bunnies from Wendigo, number 99 from number 40. It's Ajax in third. He's a ways behind his brother and his brother's championship rival now. Wendigo and Bunnies pulling away. Edgar in fourth. It's an even larger gap between Ajax and Edgar. Ajax is going to be lonely for the last few laps of this race. How far behind Edgar is a Lowy? He's not too far behind, but with only 3 laps to go after this one, I think he'll have a bit of difficulty challenging the driver head, especially considering the driver head is on fresher softs. Hard compound tires for Tambo. He sits in 6th position. 7th for Rob on hards. 8th for Regis Tam on hards, so hards seem to be a popular tire to end the race on. Tiny Terror on mediums. Softs for Ben. Kaiser in 11th on softs. Sarlacc also on softs. Softs for Punisher. And Bloodraven and Sutkus. So is there anybody on mediums right now? I think Aloe was on mediums, but I think that's about it. Oh, Tiny Terror also on mediums. So the 2 drivers who started on softs, the only 2 to start on softs, are the only 2 to end on mediums. The 2 Volkswagen drivers there, I wonder if they were working together to figure out their strategy, because they do seem like very, very similar strategies. Last lap for Bunnies was a 56.5. It was a 57.5 for Wendigo, who dropped a full second to Bunnies throughout that lap. But we'll see what the gap is going to be like at the end of this lap, as the softs will wear more and more every lap, while the hards will warm up a bit throughout these laps. Wendigo is going to be pushing hard. There's a championship on the line here to join the likes of some of SNL's biggest legends. Oh, it looks like maybe? No, I think, I thought Edgar had been in an incident there for a moment, but I think just the slow section through the chicane confusing me for a moment there. Louis in 5th. There's no battles too close together anymore. There were a lot earlier on in the race. These drivers needed to settle down just a little bit, it seemed like, and they've done just that. Although Sutkus, Bloodraven, and Punisher not too far apart themselves. We'll keep with them for a moment to see if they gain on each other. So it looks like Sutkus is having some lag issues. Oh, Sutkus is around. Sutkus has spun out of the final corner. The Lithuanian drops out of a potential battle with the 2 Canadians in front. 4 Canadians on this grid this season, of course. More than we've seen in a while. Bunnies, a 57.0 last lap. Those softs are starting to wear. It was a 56.7 for Wendigo. He gained 0.3 on Bunnies last lap, and the hards seem to be the faster tire with 2 laps to go. Wendigo is going to be putting pressure on Bunnies. Bunnies has to be careful on these softs. He doesn't want to overuse them. It's a bit late to avoid overusing them. Take a look at how worn they are in the bottom left corner of your screen. Those look brutal. Wendigo's hards, on the other hand, look pretty neat. Pretty smooth. Pretty good. The hard compound tires, they're going to be pushing up towards the back of the Speed Racer Ferrari. Speed Racer, originally a show, but there were video games made about it, so one could argue that video game liveries going up against each other in a video game, of course. But realistically more a show livery against a video game livery. Arc Raiders. There have been some brilliant liveries on this grid. The Beatles Beetle is quite a funny one. I like that one. I've commented numerous times on Slenderfella's livery. Unfortunately, can't take a look at that right now. Rob on Drums has a fantastic livery. That Flower Power Kayford Beetle. The Beetle Beetle, if you will. Regis Tam on hards, trying to close in on Rob on Drums, but nothing, doesn't look like he'll be able to get close enough before the end of the race. Tiny Terror looks comfortable. Then behind, Kaiser, Sarlacc on his final lap now, which means the leaders are on their final lap. Bunnies rounding that hairpin for the final time, and those softs look destroyed. It was a 56.8 last lap for him, a 56.6 for Wendigo, who has gained another 0.2 on him then. Wendigo behind Bunnies. Bunnies is looking comfortable, but through that third sector is where I would worry for those tires the most. That is where the softs really, or where any tire really gets used, especially a worn one. That is where you really feel the consequences of the wear. That is where you really suffer. Bunnies, though, is looking comfortable from Wendigo. Wendigo will have difficulty making a move from this distance. He's not going to be able to do it. That is the last big overtaking opportunity on this circuit. Bunnies, as long as he can hold it together for the next few corners, should be able to take the win, and that win will mean the championship for Bunnies. He's got only 4 corners to go after this one. That's 4. Now he's got 3. In Season 1 and 2, it was Matt Psycho. In Season 3, it was Illusion. Season 4, it was Victory Rain. 5, Speed Hunter. 6, Cool Dude Boy. 7, Speed Hunter again. It goes on. The list goes on and on and on. But it goes to Season 11, where it's Bunnies who takes victory to take the championship. He adds his list to the GTE champions. Wendigo in second. It's a debut season. It's not quite victory for him. It was strong. He put a challenge up to the end. Half a second between the top 2. Ajax comes home in third for his first podium of the season. Edgar, it's his second race in SNL. He will take 4th position. It will be a strong result for him. I can't wait to see what he can do in SNL. Only 2 races in, a 5th place and a 4th place, I believe it is now. Edgar, number 77, across the line for Mercedes. Aloe in 5th. It has been a strong season for Aloe. He should be proud of that one. He was 4th coming into this race in the standings. I think he might drop down to 5th with this one, with Ajax finishing 3rd. I'm not certain, though. He may just about maintain 4th. Tamo, 3rd place in the championship, it should be for him. That was a strong season for him. Victory in round 3. Rob on drums, 7th position. That is a good result for him, I would say. Marigistan, his first race in VR. It'll be 8th place for him in the McLaren. Tiny Terror in 9th. He's going to look safe from Ben here. Tiny Terror is going to come around the final corner in a moment in that Volkswagen Beetle. It'll be 9th position in this race for Tiny Terror. 10 will go to Ben. 11th should go to Kaiser, who will be the final man to cross the line. Kaiser takes 11th position. It's 12th for Sarlacc, 13th for Punisher, 14th for Bloodraven, and 15th for Sutkus. And we've got flying formation here for these 2 Ferraris, 1st and 2nd in the race, 1st and 2nd in the championship, but it is Bunnies who will take victory of this race and of this championship. Seasons 1, 2, and 9 were Matt. Season 3 was Illusion. Season 4 was Victory Rain, as well as Season 8. Season 5 was Speed Hunter. Season 6 was Cool Dude Boy. Season 7 was Speed Hunter again. Season 10 was Silent Wolf. Season 11 was Bunnies. Bunnies has won 4 times in Formula X, has won once in Endurance, and has now won once in GTE when it comes to championships. Wendigo. What a season, though. Wendigo on his debut season, challenges for the title, gets a win in his second race, and manages to finish on the podium, manages to finish second in rounds 3, 4, and 5. Only non-podium of the season was round 1, where he dropped to 4th following a post-race penalty. It'll be second in the championship for him, but he is one to look for. I think Wendigo will be getting championships sooner rather than later in SNL. Watch out for him. Ajax. It was a tougher season for him than he would have liked, but that Beetle proving capable of a podium for him in the end. Just about 2 podiums this season for the Beatles. Round 1 goes to Aloe, round 5 to Ajax. The Beans Beetle and the Beatles Beetle both on the podium. Edgar, second race in SNL. What a drive. Well done to him. Aloe, 5th position in this race. That Beans Beetle was at the sharp end of the grid so many times this season. Only 1 podium, but he could have done more. I think he had the pace. Things just didn't quite go his way a couple of times. Tamo 6th. It's not quite the final race he wanted, but he was in the championship fight going into it. And for your first time racing in SNL, that is pretty good. I think Tamo can be pleased with that season as a whole. I think he'll come back stronger next season. A couple of mistakes in the final 2 rounds are really what cost him. I think he's got a shot here at next season of whatever he chooses to compete in. Rob on drums, 7th position. That's a strong race, a very good strategy to get him there. 8th is Mergis Tam. He said in the chat after the race, maybe a little bit too soon for VR for him. I believe he said he only got the VR headset earlier that day before the race. So certainly possibly a little bit soon for him, but he made it work reasonably well. 8th place. That is a strong result in SNL. We have a strong grid this season. Tiny Terror in 9th. We saw some good battles from him. 10th is Ben. Ben involved in a lot of action today. 12th was, 11th, apologies, was Kaiser, who ran a strong race. 12th was Sarlek. Thank you for the battles you put up today, Sarlek. That was fantastic. Great action from Sarlek today. And a stronger result than he's had a couple of times recently. I think he's getting back into the groove of things a little bit more, and I hope to see him signing up for more SNL soon. Punisher in 13th, not the season he was looking for. It was a tough one, but he's a driver we know has good pace. We'll see him back up front soon. Bloodraven, I'll say the same thing I said to Sarlek. Fantastic battling today. Thank you for that action. That was excellent. Great battling. 15th for Sutkiss. It's last but not least for him. It was a tough race today, but we saw his pace shine through numerous times this season. I think he'll be capable of more next time he races. But at the end of the season, I'll leave you with this. We do not know we do not have announced what our next season of SNL will be, but I promise you this, it is coming, and it is coming soon. We will be back before you know it. But first, the drivers get a little bit of a break. Bunnies, champion again in SNL, champion for the first time in GTE, Wendigo just beat out. Nothing he could do in the end. It was close, half a second between them. But that's that. That's the end of the season. That's the end of SNL GTE Season 11. What a season it has been. Thank you to everybody who watched all of the races this season. This one, the last one, and the previous 3. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who raced. Thank you to the drivers who put up such excellent battling throughout the entire season. Thank you to everybody who contributed. Thank you for this season. Good night, and goodbye.